Hello and welcome to the podcast that is known as Another Happy Pod, short for podcast. My name is Nathan. I'm joined by my good friend and groom-to-be, Lawrence Thomas Heisey.
Am I your groom-to-be?
Hello, sir. Just keep it vague. No one needs to know.
That's true.
Hello, good sir. How are you? It's like the Beatles' girlfriends, all right? You can't let the people know that the Beatles have girlfriends, because then the Beatles won't be as popular.
I see.
So,
but you know the whole thing. You know they do, because Yoko Ono is your close personal confidant and friend. So
she does follow me on Twitter.
I mean, she's a bit more than the Beatles' girl. Maybe she's all of the Beatles' girlfriends.
Well, I mean, half of them are dead, and the other two have wives. So
yeah, but Yoko Ono's on the side,
and her husband is dead.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she is a widow. Nathan, I have a question for you.
No one cares, Lawrence. Why don't you tell us about this show first and what it is?
This Nathan is where we come and we talk about movies, TVs, games, pop culture, the umbrella term that describes all the previous things that I have just listed, and we try and have a little good time while we do it. We don't always succeed, but we do have a jolly good time.
Like you just said.
Yeah, did I say that?
Gets worse every week. Yeah.
I thought that one was quite smooth. I thought I did a good job there.
Because you said we have a good time while doing it. We don't always succeed, but we do have a jolly good time.
Oh no! Yeah, I was two on a roll and I couldn't stop.
No, it's terrible. It gets worse every week, like I said. But sure, that'll do. Maybe one day he'll get there. Maybe on his wedding day. Who knows? Lawrence, you said you had a question for me. Is this
another happy question? No, it wasn't that. I was going to ask why you did a big dab after you did the intro.
Oh, is this a bit?
It was going to be, and then you didn't go with it.
Oh, that's a good bit, Lawrence.
Oh, it would have been if you went with it.
Get ready, everyone. I did a dab. What a bit. Write that one down in the books. Nathan did a dab.
It's true, he did. I am going to do this now. Another happy question. If you're new here, what we do, what I do is I ask Nathan a little question at the start of every episode. It could be a what would you do in this scenario? It could be a yes or a no, and it's normally vaguely related to the topic we're talking about. Today we are talking about Andor, Season 1. So the question I have for you, Nathan, is what one-time appearance by a Star Wars character would you like to see get the Tony Gilroy treatment?
Define the Tony Gilroy treatment.
The Tony Gilroy treatment is a kind of a series looking at the very in-depths of that character, where not necessarily like an origin story, could be at any point in this character's life, but we want an in-depth character study that tells the life and the expanded life of everyone around that person. So in other words, who rocked up in a Star Wars project one time and you went, I'd love to know more about them, but you haven't got that information.
Okay.
I can see the cogs turning away in your head right now as you think. You have 40 minutes to think.
Yeah, no, but you say that, but I don't, because I also have to do a podcast during that time. And I can't really think about it whilst I'm doing it.
It's true.
Just give me a minute, all right?
Well, you can have 40 minutes, Nathan, because what we do, if you are new, is we come back at the end of every episode and Nathan gives his little answer that he's had plenty of time to think about, but has instead been doing a podcast. Nathan, today is, I think, one of your favourite things to do.
It's Black Friday on the day of release.
It is Black Friday. Go out, everyone, get your deals.
Happy Black Friday. Happy Thanksgiving to those who celebrate, which was, of course, yesterday. Yes, so this... Weird intro. So this is indeed a Star Wars show, and I am a fan of Star Wars. So I guess that means I start us off. So this is one that I think it kind of flew under the radar for most people.
Yeah.
If you would have if you said to everyone, in 2022 we're gonna get 3 major live-action Star Wars shows. We're going to get a Boba Fett TV show. We're going to get an Obi-Wan TV show. And then we're going to get a TV show about that guy who was in that movie that isn't really in the main Star Wars timeline, but it's still like a Star Wars movie. We're going to do a story about that guy. You'd have been like, well, those two sound great.
Yeah.
And I'll see about the other one.
Yeah.
I was always very intrigued. I'm always very intrigued with anything that comes up about Star Wars. But Andor in particular is... we're fans of Rogue One. We spoke about it recently with Ben.
Yeah.
It's a great movie with a lot to say. And the character of Cassian has always been very interesting to me. One thing I really... It's not explored in the movie, but in the book adaptation of it, it's said that he is originally a separatist. Like during the Clone Wars, he was a separatist.
Okay.
And I thought that's just fascinating to me that he is now on the Rebel Alliance, and I wanted to see kind of how that came about. So yeah, very interesting character. This is something that I was looking forward to, and fucking hell, this is... I don't even know how to describe it, man. This is just something that week to week, it just blew my fucking mind with how good it is.
Yeah.
I don't like ranking Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I don't personally see the point in it. If you do, that's absolutely fine. People find that fun, whatever. I just don't necessarily like it. Star Wars isn't in competition with itself. You don't need to say this is better than that. This shit's all over that. Who cares? Whatever. It's all good. Kind of. But this is up there. This is like truly fucking gold standard stuff.
Yeah. In
my opinion.
I think it's quite interesting because you're absolutely right. If you cast your mind back to, I think it was an Entertainment Weekly cover that basically had Pedro Pascal, Diego Luna. I think it had Ewan McGregor. May have even had Hayden Christensen, maybe Rosario Dawson. Basically, all of the big names in Star Wars coming up, or that have passed and had their shows this year. I remember seeing a tweet back then that said, "Imagine Diego Luna when he had to stand next to all of these people." And I was like, I remember at the time being like, that's disrespectful, but at the same time, I know where you're coming from. Like, Cassian Andor was the one that everyone was like, all right, sure, I'll watch an Andor show, I guess. But you're absolutely right. Star Wars isn't in competition with each other, but like this is mind blowing. Like the quality of this show is unbelievable, and I was genuinely like, I've seen a lot of people. Maybe I want to get like a proper diehard Star Wars fan's opinion on this because I've seen a lot of people have this take, and I don't know where I sit with it. That it feels like, and I quote, a proper TV show. What do you make of it?
What's a proper TV show?
My understanding of it kind of is like it's aimed at a specific set of people, i.e. like this would have an age rating. I'm pretty sure it does have an age rating on Disney Plus, right? You wouldn't show this to kids. Kids can't enjoy this. It's probably if you sat a kid down and made them watch all of this, they'd probably go, that was the most boring fucking thing I've ever watched.
Yeah, probably. I don't think it's not made for kids.
No.
That's not to say kids can't watch it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything particularly in here that kids can't see. There's some people get point blank killed and stuff, but that's pretty
there's a lot of slow pans to dead eyes.
Yeah, but I mean that's the worst of it. It's nothing too dark. It's still Star Wars at the end of the day. But yeah, it does lean more adult. More in the story and the whole political intrigue of it really is where the more adult stuff comes from, I guess. I don't know what the term a proper TV show means, though.
No, and like I said, I these are just opinions that I've seen. I think how I would make sense. I think saying a proper TV show makes you sound like a knob, right? Because who can tell what that is, right? It might be written to a higher caliber. It might be like I think it is arguably better than a lot of stuff Star Wars has put out recently, but that doesn't mean I discredit the other Star Wars stuff as being pure shit, because I've enjoyed 90% of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think this is an interesting take, because I think it's, like you say, the political intrigue is all there in the show, and it's the entire point, and it's laced throughout all the writing in the series. But then that was done in the prequels too. The prequels are pretty much just politics, the trilogy. But I think that this still has a better grasp on, I don't know, can you see what I mean? It's different. Like, Star Wars has done politics, but it hasn't done politics this hard.
Politics has always been a part of Star Wars since the beginning. Politics was a lot more prevalent in the prequels, and it wasn't hidden. Like in the original trilogy, the politics was hidden.
Yeah.
It was behind the scenes. It wasn't in your face. The prequels were literally about the politics.
They're like courtroom scenes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, if you're new here and you're just joining us and you're new to this podcast, when we say politics, we're not talking about the annoying YouTube politics that a lot of people will be like, this show's too political. We're talking about actual politics.
Now, this show is political, and that's good, actually. The politics were a big part of the prequels, and I think that one of the criticisms you hear of the prequels a lot is, it's too political. It's, the politics were just boring and stuff, which I disagree with. I think they're kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
Maybe not presented in the best way, sure, I'll give you that. But the actual what the stuff that's actual there, the actual material, is very interesting. I think this is, like I say, is just packaged in a better and more intriguing way, because those scenes with Mon Mothma, like you have the scenes of her at the Imperial Senate, and you can see her giving fucking everything. She is giving it her all, trying to get her message across, trying to ask for the bare fucking minimum, the scraps that she can collect, and you can just see the lights going off as people just, they don't care. They've lost it. They're late for a dinner party, you know, they're off to some event or whatever. They don't have time for this. It's not important. Who cares about her silly little crusader agenda, whatever. And then you have the scenes of Mon Mothma again at the dinner parties, where she is fighting for her life, but in a different way, in a much more cunning way. And it's so intriguing to see the Mon Mothma that she presents to the world, to the Senate, and this, you know, this fighter, but then you have the real fighter emerging underneath that. And the strength of her actually comes... She's not really doing much as an Imperial Senator, probably. She's actually doing a lot more as this sort of behind-the-scenes figure. Yeah. And it's just really interesting.
That's... So, like, the lights going out, and while she's, like you say, kind of begging for the scraps, just for the good of the people, firstly, it's important to kind of understand in this series... Mon Mothma's role is entirely a facade, in the sense that her position is that of, here's the illusion that you have a say in what we do. Yeah. She could win all the votes and the Empire will still go, we don't agree with it, so no. It's so interesting to see the side characters in Star Wars, because a lot of these people are very happy to be ruled. They're very happy to be under, you know, the iron fist of the Empire, and they're very, very happy because they're profiting. They're making money. They're living lavish lifestyles and forgetting about the people that are trodden on.
They're prospering, so it's everything that's happening in places like Ferrix and Kashyyyk and these, you know, these more remote systems, even their home systems, which, you know, now they're living in Coruscant. Now they're representing these places, but they're here in Coruscant, in the capital, where all that's not really an issue. Yeah. So really, doesn't bother
it doesn't touch them. They probably don't even know the full extent of what's going on, but, you know, I think
probably don't want to know.
Yeah, what's that old saying of, like, you know, for evil to succeed, you know, you have to have good people as well as bad people turn a blind eye to stuff.
And I feel like that's a massive thing in this series particularly. Yeah. Even really with Cassian, because I think he's got a great character journey throughout this season, throughout the series, because he is very apathetic in the beginning. Like he's not a fighter. He was a fighter, but he kind of had that, like, beaten out of him, I guess. He kind of had that nature taken away from him. And now he's just kind of in a position where he's just getting by. He owes a lot of people money. He'll do what he do to scrape by. He'll do a job here and there, whatever that job may be. And even the fucking the Aldani heist, which is part of the very early rebellion cells, it's not the rebellion for him. He doesn't give a fuck. Yeah. He's just there to get paid.
He's like, damn, I've been promised a juicy bag from this, so off we go.
I'm off to space Florida now. Like, I don't care. So see you later, boys. Yeah. And then, like, by the end of the series, like, you know, once he's out of the prison, he has that conversation with Melfi, like, this can't go on. Yeah. You know, fucking shit needs to get done about this. People need to know. And it's like we were saying in the Rogue One episode, you know, there's that fucking amazing line between, I think it's between Saw and Jin, where they're saying, like, you know, the Empire's flag reigns over the galaxy. How can you stand to see it? And Jin says it's not a problem if you don't look up. Fucking amazing line.
Oh, it's brilliant, yeah.
And through a lot of this, Cassian he's not looking up. It's just not a problem for him. He's just, you know, heads down, getting on with his own stuff. But then it gets to a point where he can't afford to look down. Yeah. It's part of him now, and he realizes that shit needs to get done.
That's one of my favourite things about this, because, like, I was worried, right, because Cassian has such an amazing character arc in Rogue One as it is. But when you meet him, he's kind of no nonsense, shoot first, ask questions later. It's either you or it's either him or me kind of mentality. And Jyn Erso kind of encourages him to change that mentality, and over the time he realizes that, you know, just operating within the grey areas of morality is not enough to kind of be the leader that you're supposed to be. And I was really worried in this show that we were just kind of going to get the cool adventures of Cassian Andor, stagnant character, because all of his growth already came in Rogue One. I was really, really concerned about that, but one thing I think this does so well is show us how he becomes the leader, and how by the time that Rogue One rolls around, he's almost jaded from being that leader. And like, both series completely acknowledge the fact that the weight of the Empire, you can't survive under it without either profiting off the lifestyle, completely losing yourself by turning a blind eye to it and just trying to get by, or by doing something about it. You know, like like you say, he goes to Space Florida, and he's literally like walking along the road when a big what are those units called?
Shore Trooper.
Yeah, when one of them.
Oh, do you mean the K2 unit? Yeah, KX unit.
Yeah. So two of them just come over and shake him down, and they're like, "What did you just fucking say?" And he's like, I'm not doing anything. I'm just a guy." And they're like, "Go to jail for 6 years." And he's like, "I didn't do a fucking thing." And it's like you say, there comes a point, and there will come a point for everyone in this that just tries to get by and live life. Your life will be touched by this tyrannical fucking rule. It just will be. Whether it's just your quality of life goes down, or it's, you know, you're just wrongfully sent to prison for no reason.
One of my favourite characters in this show was Kino Levy, Andy Serkis.
So good.
Fucking, first of all, what a shock. Yeah. Just you hear that rich tone, first of all, you're like, hold on, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I know that voice. And then you see little Andy Serkis just walking through with his grippers out, just being like, "This is the day shift," with his incredible voice. You're like, "Oh, this is amazing. Andy Serkis is here.
Yeah.
Is this the secret origin of Snoke?" No, it's obviously not. But it's very good to have him here. And his character, I think he fits into that, as that whole thing we were just discussing as well, very well, because he's someone who is very much, he's in prison, but he's bought into the prison system.
Yeah.
He's bought into just keep my head down, I'll do my job, I'll do my time, then I get out. And that's it. I don't need to get involved with everything that's going on. I don't need to know what they're saying over there. I don't need to worry about any of that. People die. Hey, it happens. I just need to get my team to build their little stuff, and then I can eat my things at the end of the day, my porridge straw or whatever the fuck it is. And then we can... And then once my time is up, in about a year or so, I can get out. And then the moment that he learns that, you know, there's no getting out. And then the fucking amazing line where Cassian asks him how many guards. It's something he's been asking him throughout the episodes. And then he finally says no more than 12. Oh, I punched the air.
I was fist
moment.
pumping. Yeah, it's... Yeah. I think... I'll get back to Kino in a second, but firstly, I just think that Star Wars has done atrocities before. Like, we've seen... In Star Wars... We've seen several planets just be removed from existence, right? We've seen lasers blow up fucking cities, planets, everything. We've seen people mercilessly slaughtered by lightsaber, by blaster. We've seen atrocities in Star Wars before. But there's something about how the prisoners... it's haunting to think that they're just there until they're killed. And it's the realization that everyone kind of knows, and no one wants to admit it, because that you're admitting I'm fucked. You know, it's a hard thing to face. Just pure, I'm going to die. And I love how Kino in this is he's a metaphor for you. He finally opens his eyes and sees, under the rule of the Empire, you do not get shit unless you fight for it. And I just think that's such a bearing in mind that's kind of what's going on with Luthen as well. It's what Cassian kind of spends the whole show learning. It's just phenomenal. It's so interesting, and the fact that he's a natural born leader, because clearly he inspires these people to get their jobs done. Like you say, he's got the powerful booming voice. He spends most of his 3 episodes shouting at people to fall in line and do what they need to do to crack on with the job. And I just think it's almost sad to see that character be such an incredible, what could potentially be such an incredible asset to the rebellion, just crushed and forced to use his talents of leadership to build parts of a fucking laser that will annihilate planets. Like, it's there's something about that character. It's just magnetic to watch. Maybe that's Andy Serkis, his skill as a performer, or maybe it's just phenomenal writing, but one of the best characters I've seen.
Definitely a mixture of both. Andy Serkis he's an incredible actor. He always has been. I think he doesn't often get the recognition that he deserves, because often he's in like a mocap suit.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's Caesar, it's Snoke, it's Gollum. I could see Gollum in his face.
Yeah, yeah, you can, yeah.
I was like, oh, that looks like Gollum a little bit. But yeah, he is a phenomenal actor. Like I said, we talked about the Planet of the Apes movies, and him as Caesar is an amazing performance, I think. And I still think it's a fucking crime that he wasn't nominated for those performances, because he gives them their all, and he gave this his all as well. He really is.
Well, he's doing two jobs in the Planet of the Apes movie. One, he's giving a phenomenal performance that should be nominated in its own right, and secondly, he's doing the entire thing whilst pretending to be a fucking ape.
Yeah,
like it just the level of talent is unreal, mate. That's that scene where he's just staring up and he's delivering the kind of the rousing speech to get everyone to push back and fight their corners, and the floor is cold, you can take back the prison. The scene where the specific shot where he's staring down the lens and his eyes are wild, and you can see in his eyes he knows he's probably about to die, or at the very least, he knows he's not going to get out of it because he knows where the prison is.
Yeah.
So there are no words. I was watching that 3 episode arc. Some of the best Star Wars I've ever seen.
Yeah, really is. And the absolute tragedy that he can't get out himself.
Yeah.
That he doesn't make it just for the simple fact that he can't swim.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. We don't know what happened to him.
But that's what's so interesting, I think. I think it is
interesting.
I think
want it to be alive and safe.
I'd love for him to be alive and safe, but it's a waste of I think it would to return to him unless they. I mean, under these writers, I think they could get away with anything that they do, and they're not going to make a stupid choice. But to bring him back and be like, it's 5 years later and he's got a big beard and he's been captured and he's a prisoner of war for the Empire or whatever. You don't need it. You don't need to see it. His impact is. It does what it's supposed to do. The message is clear, and he's so phenomenal in this show. It'd be a shame to bring him back and do something else.
I don't necessarily agree, but I feel like the more likely scenario is one or two things happened. One, he drowned, or number two, he stayed and then got shot when reinforcements arrived.
Oh, I think he almost definitely got shot. Yeah. I mean, look, I'll be honest. If he came back, I'd be interested to see it. But in what logical world? After they've all just made the Empire look like prats.
Yeah.
He's dead. He's dead. I tell you what did you... We've just spoken about the kind of... what was that prison called?
Prison. I don't think it had a specific name.
It had a big name. It was one of the... I thought you'd know that. You know all the little Star Wars names of things. I could text you at any point, at any given day, and be like, Nathan, what's this ship? And you'd be like, that's the Jiffle Jorp 7000. That's what that is.
Great. Yeah. Okay. I don't think it has a name. The planet has a name. It was like RK5 or something.
Oh, was that not? I thought that might have been the name of the prison.
No, I think that was the planet, or maybe it was. I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe it's a planet.
I've only seen the show once. All right. Okay.
No, Nathan, you should have rewatched every episode for this. No, what I tell you what. This is something I haven't seen before. Maybe other shows have done it. Who knows? It's the first time I've experienced it. What did you make of the... there are some instances where it doesn't fall in line with this, but it kind of had like a 3-episode mini arc structure.
It did.
What did you think about that?
I liked it. It was good.
Yeah.
It was something different. It was a different way of doing the the TV structure thing. For me, it worked. I like the build up that we got with those 2 episodes, because then it always led to something just really fucking incredible and intense and dramatic in that 3rd episode, because the Aldani heist is great. So you got 2 episodes of them, stumbling around in the woods, practicing as shit goes wrong. You've got little Black Mirror nonce boy telling you about his manifesto and everything he's planning. You're like, oh mate, you're so sweet and pure and just truly incredible, and I want to protect you with everything I have, and that's why it's going to hurt me so much when you die.
Yeah.
Because you are going to die, because I can tell it right now, but my God, I don't want that to happen.
He pulled his little book out, he went, I'm writing a manifesto on the Empire. I went, that's the ending monologue then. Cheers, fella, you're dead. but also, that's another thing. How he dies... It's so fucking needless, and the show show is heartless in terms of they're dead. They'd be dead in real life, so they're dead in the show. There's no excuses.
There's no like long drawn out deaths or heroic just like sacrifice moments or anything like that. It's just gone.
Yeah. In case you don't know who Black Mirror nonce boy is, we're talking about Nemec, by the way.
Yeah, sorry, Nemec.
I just realised that's a very specific joke.
I feel like most people will get it.
This was before Black Mirror got weird, and I think this was on the cusp of Black Mirror becoming a bit weird.
Yeah, it was definitely on there. It got weird when it went to Netflix.
I think this was the first Netflix season they did, so...
Yeah.
I don't know the actor's name. He's in End of the Fucking World, which is another great show that he's great in.
It's a great show.
So... a man who's seen it, clearly. Did you not like it?
No, I saw like 3 episodes. I'm like, this isn't for me.
Oh, fair enough.
I don't know. Turned it off. The 3-act structure. I like it. It works. It works for me. Clearly, it doesn't work for some people because I've seen a lot of people being like, "This is boring," and I'm like, "Well, no, it's just it's a different way of. If you think it is, then that's fine. It's we're all entitled to our wrong opinions, but I just feel like it's a different way of doing storytelling. And not everything needs to be action all the time.
Yeah.
And political... Like I say, those scenes with Mon Mothma, where she's like just at a dinner party speaking undercover, to me, those are more intriguing than just seeing 2 people throwing their fists at each other for 10 minutes.
I want to know... The people that are like, the talking is boring... I really want to like be in the same room as them as they watch any film that isn't like part of a franchise or like an action movie. I'm like, how do you consume such a grim word for like watching something? How do you watch and enjoy like a drama? How do you do it? Because it's not all, dramas are typically known as slow burns a lot of the time.
Yeah.
How do you do it? Like, I just don't know how you would watch something like this and be like, it's boring. It might not be for you, but it's phenomenally paced. It's so incredibly well written. I just don't get it.
The Mandalorian is a show which is mostly action heavy for the most part.
Yeah.
Has a lot of great action, but probably my favourite scene in all of The Mandalorian is the scene where it's Din, Bill Burr, and they're just at the table having the conversation with the Imperial officer.
Yeah.
And it's just all very tense before, Bill Burr shoots him and it all goes to shit.
Yeah.
Great scene, because it's just talking. It's just intense, well-written dialogue.
Yeah.
Which can be way more thrilling than just... Action's great. I love action. I love seeing things go bang and explosions and people fighting and all that stuff. It's great. I love the set pieces. But to have just more... like, I don't know, weight, I guess, to it. It's the well-written dialogue can truly... It's just good shit, man.
I saw something, and I kind of really resonated with it. I saw something that was like... I can't remember where I saw it. I think it must have been a tweet or something, and I can't remember who penned such a tweet.
It was me.
It was Nathan, it must have been.
At Nathan Bauer _ on Twitter, at Nathan Bauer on Hive. Be a part of my Hive. Will Hive last? Who knows?
Who knows? What I do know is it's virtually unusable and doesn't load.
Leave them alone.
I know.
There's 2 guys working on it. Sorry they don't have $44 billion to ruin a website. Yeah, I said
Look, I saw... Oh, good, what a topic. Someone had to, Nathan.
Anything.
Good on you.
Finally, someone's taken a stand.
So I saw something that was like, a fine TV show will have a beginning, a middle, and an end throughout the whole series. A good TV show will each episode will have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And for a phenomenal TV show, every scene in every episode will have a good beginning, a middle, and an end. And I feel like a lot of the scenes in this, like and the one that you mentioned about the with Bill Burr shooting the officer in The Mandalorian, that's a good example of it. Like, the scene has a purpose, you know what's coming, it ends, and then it launches them into a new scene. And I just think that approach to writing, especially some character work in this, is incredible. That scene with Luthen talking to his mole in the Empire about what he's sacrificed, just fucking some great stuff, some amazing stuff in that.
Stellan Skarsgård is really good. He's a good cunt.
Yes, he is. Yeah,
like he's a dick, and I know he's a dick, but he's a dick for the right reasons as well, though.
Yeah,
like he's a dick to get the right job done.
Yeah,
but he's still a dick.
He says that line about like, I think one of my favorite lines in this. I'll paraphrase it because I can't remember exactly the quote. It's something along the lines of, "I use the tools of my enemy to hurt them," or something along those lines. But he's absolutely right. He is doing some terrible fucking things. He's letting, I think it was 31 people, just happily leading them to their slaughter, for the greater good, and then just talking about it as if it's nothing. And you can see in certain scenes where he does kind of break that wall, you see it does deeply affect him, and it is interesting. And him and Kino and everyone else, they're all gonna die before they get to see this rebellion play out, before they get to see the fruits of their labor, essentially. And it's sad. It speaks to the tragedy of it all, because at the end of the day, spoiler alert, in Star Wars, the good guys win pretty much in every major resolution that we've seen. But there are a lot of unsung heroes. It's, not all of them were able to stay on the straight and narrow for the entire time.
Not all of them made it to the medal ceremony on Yavin, because there's a lot of people who, like Luke and Han, would not be there getting their medals without so many people who are just dead and on the floor.
Yep,
and
basically they're crawling. That slow walk on Yavin to get their medals may as well have been over the bodies of about 1,000 people. Just over them to go, cheers guys, got to get my piece. So one thing I want to get your take on, because I saw it. I saw editing pal of mine, Matt from Mr. Sunday Movies as well. He made an interesting point that said Star Wars performances are at their best when they're played by guys or girls that look like they do not belong in Star Wars. Right, for example, I can't remember. He gave a few examples about classic British actors. I don't know that well, but the one that we both know, Bill Burr, not a guy that gives a shit about Star Wars, just someone that was there to get a bag and deliver an acting performance, and that's exactly what he did. And he was one of the most memorable characters in both season 1 and 2. I'll reframe it in terms of directors, right? Tony Gilroy does not give a leftward flying fuck about Star Wars.
You don't need to make Star Wars your life.
Yeah.
To make Star Wars. Spoiler alert, Star Wars is my life. I never want to make Star Wars.
Yeah.
I never want to be in Star Wars. I don't want to be anywhere near it, because I'd fuck it up. I'm not good. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing at all.
Yeah.
But also, I just want to enjoy it. I don't want to make it.
I think there's definitely an element of being too close to something as well. If you love something so deeply, you'll get excited at the chance to put your paws on it and to do things with it. And what I want to ask you is, do you think
sometimes a bit of distance is a good thing?
Yeah.
Matt Smith is my favourite Doctor Who. He hadn't seen anything of Doctor Who before he started. He wasn't a fan of the show. Once he got the role, he watched like a few episodes to get a sense of what it was and the character and stuff. But he wasn't like, I can't wait to take over the title. It's been a lifelong dream of mine since I was 12. On the opposite side, my second favourite Doctor Who, Peter Capaldi, is like the world's biggest fan, and he was a member of the fan club when he was like 12 years old, and all this sort of stuff. So I don't know. Maybe it doesn't mean fuck all.
Maybe it doesn't mean anything. But do you? God, I wish there was a platform where we could talk about Doctor Who more deeply. Don't you, Nathan?
Me too. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? No, but what I was going to... I mean, you kind of already answered it, but what I was going to ask you is, do you think that... I'll say it in terms of this show. Do you think this show specifically benefited from someone writing it who doesn't give a shit about Star Wars?
Maybe, to quote Elijah Wood.
Good. Nothing better than working in a viral TikTok trend mid-podcast to get the listeners going.
I don't think it matters.
Okay.
I think that's one of those things where people look at cause A and cause B and think, oh, cause B happens because of cause A,
Yeah.
where in actual fact they're not really related.
That's fair.
Where it's just two separate things. I don't think it really matters. I think the more important thing is just having a good writer. Really.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Or a good actor, or a good director, or a good editor, whoever it is. I just think it's getting the right people for the job. But I personally don't think that matters myself.
That's fair. Are there any new characters to this that you just loved, other than kind of the ones we've already spoken about? Because I think we'd both be slamming off his saying Andy Serkis.
Did absolutely love Kino. B2 Emo, it was a great addition. I love that little droid.
Yeah.
The entire last episode, I had so much anxiety with the whole funeral. And oh my god, someone pick up the droid and run. Just get him out of there.
When that guy flipped him over, I was like, I hope you get shot so hard.
No, but then he got punched like immediately after that. Not only did he get punched, he got whacked in the face with the fucking remains of his mum, with Cassian's mum as well.
I loved incredible. That she became her last line was she posthumously told the Empire to go suck themselves. And then someone used her ashes/brick thing to just twat a bunch of fucking stormtroopers. That was brilliant.
Incredible. Amazing stuff.
When I die, Nathan, turn me into a brick and just use me to lump fascists, please.
I will. I'll turn you into a brick and just throw you through the window at 10 Downing Street. New characters that I found. I'm not going to say love because I hate them. But they're also very interesting. First of all, Cyril Khan, the weird little creep.
Yep.
Clearly, he is, an allegory or a metaphor for someone who was just completely fallen down the alt-right pipeline.
Yeah.
This is exactly the kind of person who, typical young man, not necessarily what you would imagine when you think of right-wing conservative and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But he is the kind of guy who would take a gun, drive across several states, and then shoot several people in the name of protecting his country.
Yeah.
Or whatever. He's a fucking moron.
Yeah.
But he thinks he's doing the right thing, and that's why he's terrifying.
Really. I think that he's a brilliant character because, like you say, he's when you see incels in media, right?
Yeah.
You see that guy that shot the guy in the corner shop in The Boys, the one that was you see the neckbeard, long hair types. Sorry if you have a neckbeard and long hair, but you're typically what media thinks an incel is. Right.
I have long hair. I have a neckbeard, but I have long hair.
Sorry, Nathan. What I loved about him is from the first couple of scenes you see him in, he's been so groomed by this way of life and this set of ideals to the point where he's tailored his uniform to fit him better so that he can look better whilst he crushes rebellions and he takes a glee in it, and it's clearly it's the quiet white boy meme you want to look out for. That's exactly what he is, and he is terrifying because
he's a walking red flag. He's the kind of guy that if you said ACAB, he'd have a full-on fucking mental breakdown, and he'd probably start crying.
Are you going to defund the police? Are you? Or who's going to come to your aid when all these things happen?
Whoa!
Yeah. What you want to do is you want to call the police, and then they can rape you. Wait, no, hang on, I didn't mean that.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Also, the scene where he sort of becomes fucking infatuated with is it Dedra? Yeah, Dedra, who the female ISB agent.
Yeah.
He sort of becomes infatuated with her. And the scene where he goes to her on Coruscant and he's like, he's just watching her.
Yeah.
But then he like says like, "Oh, I can help you," and all this sort of stuff, and you can see it on her face just how horrified she is.
Yeah.
That he's essentially been following her around. It's creepy. It's very unsettling.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel for Dedra, a character you shouldn't be feeling for.
No, a terrible person.
Because again, the show is very clever in the way that in the beginning you are rooting for Dedra. You're wanting her to succeed. You're wanting her to get ahead in this, misogynistic realm that she's in. You're wanting her to earn her seat at the table and all this sort of stuff. But then when she does earn that seat, you're like, and now you're a fascist.
Yeah.
And you want to stomp your boot on the people of Ferrix.
It's a genius move in terms of the script, because she's, like you say, she's there, she's being crushed by male co-workers who are so inadequate at their jobs.
Yeah.
Now, the good person in me wants to keep the inadequate people at the table, because they're the ones that are going to kill less rebels than good people, because they're just stupid and they're not good at their jobs. But I want her to replace them at the table, because I'm not sexist and I think those guys are dickheads. But then I remember when she's at the table, you're incredibly proficient at fucking killing people that I like, so don't be at the table, but not in a sexist way.
Yeah, it's very clever.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's the, again, women voting against their own interests. There's a whole lot of great political discussion woven throughout this show, really. And it is really well done. Her character was very interesting. Another one who was really good, Stellan Skarsgård as Luthen. Really enjoyed his character. A scene in particular I've really enjoyed where he is kind of at his antique store, I guess, with Mon Mothma, and they're talking. It's after the Aldani heist, and she's like, "Was it you? Did you do this?" and that sort of shit. And they're not talking as much in code. The veil is lifted a little bit. And he's holding this like ancient antique weapon, like this big club.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what it is, but some ancient weapon, I guess. And he's just talking about how like times come where, this whole hiding behind the scenes doesn't work. You need to take action. Doing it this way it's not proven effective. You need to strike and actually do something. And then he like offers her the weapon as the gift, and he's like, "Do you want this for your husband?" Putting on the show once again.
Yeah.
And then she just refuses it. She says, "I think I'll look somewhere else, look for something else." Such a well written scene.
Yeah.
What I did there does not do it justice at all. It's just a really, really good scene between those two, and again, just such good dialogue throughout the show.
It's the subtlety of like passing her the weapon, her refusing the weapon, all of that is good stuff. One of my favourite little moments in this, and like I say, that this is what I'm talking about. If you sat a kid in front of this, they wouldn't know what the fuck's going on. And I think that people that would watch this half-assed, like, oh, this show's a boring show, they're missing the incredibly like well-written moments and the attention to detail in the script where like Mon Mothma's saying, "There's people watching me. They keep replacing my aides and my chauffeurs and stuff like that with these new people." And then like little moments where she's worried about her kind of allocating funds being discovered. Her big thing in this is that she's been essentially siphoning money from the Empire to fund the rebellion, and it's going to be revealed, and obviously she'll be in a bunch of shit. So she asks the chauffeur to give them a bit of privacy, and she then accuses her husband of gambling. And I was like, oh, maybe, it starts off as a very simple, oh, maybe he has been gambling, maybe they're just having an argument. And then I'm like, oh, you're setting him up.
Yeah.
You're framing him, like, fuck, this goes deep. And then the added kick of that scene that shows the chauffeur really is a fucking Imperial spy, because he's just listening, even though he's been told to give them privacy. It's incredibly well done.
And then he tells them to Doc Brown.
Yeah, he does.
Not Doc Brown from Back to the Future.
I know who you mean.
British comedian Doc Brown.
And then he does his song about a cup of tea or something, or whatever it is. Maybe that's what I mean. Random guy shouldn't be in Star Wars is in Star Wars. Maybe he's one of them.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but then there's also people who should be in Star Wars who are great as well. So
I know it's not always a rule.
It's not a rule at all, I would say. Mon Mothma's story, we've talked about her a little bit, and we know the character. But again, this is stuff we didn't know about her. We're seeing, first of all, she has a family. Like, okay.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Cool, you got a husband, you got a kid, you've got a sister who's in Doctor Who. So great. That's my talent, by the way. Just
it is
seeing
yeah.
actors who are in Doctor Who. She was also in Game of Thrones.
I love it when a show. She was in Game of Thrones. I love it when a show halfway through the season does that. You know these two characters, but did you know they were related? I love it when a show does that, and I'm like, it reframes things.
It's always a great moment.
Yeah.
But I do particularly like that. Like her daughter is rebelling against her rebelling.
Yeah.
Like she's like, oh well, you're just a good person. Fuck you. I'm gonna embrace these weird Chandrilan customs that we have and everything. I'm gonna get married at 15. Like fuck you. I don't care.
I'm gonna get married to a big greasy nerd. That's what I'm gonna get married to.
Yeah. But I like that it comes down to Mon Mothma. You know, when we see her we don't see much of her in Return of the Jedi and Rogue One, but she's alone. You know, we've never known that she's had maybe it's been mentioned in some weird book or comic or something, but it's never been an explicit part of her character that she's had a family until now. So it makes you think, is she going to like basically say, well, this has to go for me to do what I need to do?
Yeah.
Or if I have to essentially destroy my family for the good of the galaxy, then it seems like that's unfortunately what is going to happen. Because she already has it.
I'm picturing her.
Do your terrible little joke. Come on.
No, I'm just picturing.
I can see you getting ready to tell your silly little joke. While I was talking, that smile on your face was growing. So no, please, let's hear this silly little joke.
It's not a joke. It's more of a scenario that I find amusing because she'll have, by the end of this, you know, there's a season 2 that's coming. I don't know what will happen in that, but let's say on the impression that she is completely alone in Return of the Jedi, A New Hope, all of that, right?
Yes.
Let's say that her sister, you know, maybe her sister's dead. Maybe her daughter doesn't speak to her. Maybe her husband's dead or framed for, you know, fucking reallocation of Imperial funds. She's sacrificed everything, lost every personal connection, but it's time for her to put a medal on 2 gimps that have been there for 5 minutes for doing one space battle.
To be fair, she doesn't.
Oh,
she's not there.
Who puts the medal on them?
Leia.
Is it Leia?
Yeah, Mon Mothma's not in A New Hope. She's only in Return of the Jedi.
Shut up! Really?
Yeah.
Firstly, that renders my whole joke null and
Yeah.
void. But secondly, I'm not worried about that. There's time to be humiliated about my poor joke later. Now I'm thinking, what was she not in Rogue One? Not fucking A New Hope.
She's in Rogue One. Yeah, she's not in A New Hope at all.
Maybe
First time she appears is in Return of the Jedi.
Fuck. Maybe I'm just thinking that she's in A New Hope. Maybe it's like a revisionist memory because I saw Rogue One.
I think it is. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, she's not in A New Hope at all.
Wow.
She's in the deleted scenes of Revenge of the Sith.
Yep.
She's in Rogue One. She's in Andor. She's in Clone Wars. She's in Rebels. She's in Return of the Jedi.
So she's clocked in now more official appearances as Mon Mothma than the original did.
Oh, Genevieve O'Reilly.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
She only had one, the original, didn't she?
Fuck. There we go.
So
you learn something new every day. So this is what I mean. You know about all this Star Wars stuff.
I mean, that was.
I know that was.
I'm just trying to.
I'm trying to make myself.
That's just you being a dickhead.
Fine.
Anyway, I'm glad you interrupted me for that. That was great. That was some really good stuff. Yeah.
I tell you what. I've known about the concept of tractor beams since I was young.
Yes.
Never have I thought, if you're pulling me in, then you may as well have this bomb and all.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant fucking tactic.
It's good.
I love how like you're watching him dead-eyed be like looking at these TIE fighters or looking at this this Imperial ship that's chasing him down. And he's like staring at them with such hate and disgust, and then he flicks on his like comms thing, and he's like, "Oh yeah, cheers for letting me know, guys. I'll be on my way. Thanks, guys."
Yeah, I love how it's like it's almost boring to him as well. It's just very matter of fact. It's like, all right, I'll do this next, and then I'll do this, and then I'll turn on my ship's lightsabers and just spin move and everything.
And he's like, it's taken him a while to like do everything, and he like flicks on things like, "Sorry guys, just a one-man ship here, got to do all this myself." And then he flips it back off, and he's like, "Right, let's kill these fucking nerds."
One thing we can always be sure of, no matter what, Star Wars has always taught us that spinning is always a good trick. Okay, always remember
good.
That.
Very,
spinning
very good.
is always a good trick. Is there anything else, or anyone else, or anything else you would like to mention?
I don't think so. Just that I would love to see, like, I know we're getting a season 2 of this, but I'd love to see
one more season, baby.
One more season, indeed. I would love to see
two-season show, and then it's done. Season 2 will apparently be set over the course of 5 years between after this and where we find Cassian in Rogue One.
Very interesting. Okay.
Little sizzle.
I wonder how far will Luthen's hair recede at this point. Will he get an even bigger wig to cover it?
Will Saw Gerrera be even more paranoid?
Yeah, he'll have to be, won't he?
Will Two Tubes show up and say nothing once again?
Yes.
One can only hope.
I would love to see, maybe you won't agree with this, I would love to see more of this from Star Wars. And that's not to say that I don't like, like the recent stuff that's come out, I've enjoyed. I was a fan of Kenobi. I was kind of on the fence about Book of Boba Fett. I like Mandalorian. I like Mandalorian season 2. But I think there's definitely a place for the more kind of interesting exploration of themes in Star Wars, more adult stuff that you can't put a kid in front of, and for them to be entertained. And I don't mean that like, it's a boring thing to be like, I want it to be dark and gritty, because this is not dark and gritty, but it's just more mature. And I think there's a place to see those themes explored, and a whole bunch of characters that you can do it from. But yeah, I'd like to see more of this. I think it's good stuff.
No, I would agree, actually. I'm more for seeing something different and interesting in Star Wars. If you give me anything explicitly political in Star Wars, I really up. I find it fascinating.
Yeah.
Just to see like the ins and outs of the. I would have watched a full hour-long episode of Mon Mothma in the Imperial Senate, just like fucking Prime Minister's questions, just fucking
PMQs with Mon Mothma.
Just PMQs with Mon Mothma. I'm assuming Palpatine does not go to the Imperial Senate, because why would he?
Nah.
I'm assuming he'll send some representative, but I'd love to see how that works. Do people mouth off at them, or does he just have them killed straight up? I don't know. But I'd love to see how that works.
He wouldn't go there, because he's got. Last time he was there, Yoda was fucking frisbeeing them at his head, wasn't he? Little seats.
He'd probably send like, I don't know, fucking Masamee there, or Tarkin, or someone.
Yeah.
Or me.
Yeah, and when there's always room for like more political angles to be explored in Star Wars, but that doesn't always have to be Empire stuff as well. Like, there's a whole bunch of like politics going on in the era of the Jedi, when they were at like the peak of their physical power. There's stuff outside of what we've already seen. I know you have a fondness for like the Republic stuff.
The politics in the Clone Wars again is fascinating.
Yeah,
it's really interesting. There's a great episode called Heroes on Both Sides, which starts from a line in the opening crawl of Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. I remember. I had to do an extensive, irritating animation because Mason referenced it in a caravan of garbage once. Okay. And I know that line very well.
Okay. Well, yeah, there's a great episode in the Clone Wars which like it focuses on the separatists side of stuff and why they actually broke away from the Republic. And they're not all just Newt Gunray and his weird army of droids. They are people with legitimate concerns and and stuff that the Republic was doing wrong, and like you're just not caring about us at all. Even fucking recently, Tales of the Jedi, which just came out, had a great episode about a senator who was just not caring about his planet at all. He just let it go to shit because, like we said, he was doing well in Coruscant. He was prospering whilst his planet was going to shit. Really intriguing stuff, which Star Wars always does well, so I'm always down to see more of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, that was everything. So, Nathan, at the start of this, if you've tuned in halfway through, if you've skipped to the end for some bizarre reason, what I do is I ask Nathan a question, typically pertaining to whatever we're talking about. It could be a hypothetical, could be a would you rather do this, that, whatever. Today, I asked him, what one-time appearance Star Wars character would you like to see get the Tony Gilroy treatment, which I elaborated meant basically a character that we have met, but we don't know too much about. And who is it, and what would you kind of... I didn't ask you what you'd like to see from them, but who do you want to see expanded on?
I have two answers.
Ooh.
One is a serious one, and one is a joke answer.
Is one Yaddle?
No. Yaddle, we actually got a lot more on already, and a very interesting character.
Oh, it's Bryce Dallas Howard voicing Yaddle, right?
She did, yeah.
I read that they confirmed that Yoda's just a freak that talks like that.
Well, I think Dave Filoni, or maybe someone else who did Tales of the Jedi. I don't know if it was Dave Filoni, but let's just say Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni said in his I think he spoke to Frank Oz, and Frank Oz mentioned that he always thought Yoda spoke that way because his master did. And he learned it from him. It's not a species-specific thing.
I see.
It's just something that Yoda, just a little quirk he has, really.
Dave Filoni went, am I fuck writing all that dialogue for Yaddle like that? Not happening. It was a thing that Yoda did. Yoda's a little weirdo. I like that. That's cool. But yeah, so it's not Yaddle. Who is it? It's not.
So my joke answer is Claude. For those who don't know, I can't remember. That is the little, not little. It's quite big actually. The big yellow slug in the Rise of Skywalker. He's a mechanic somehow, and he's on the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, that's a very impractical job for a being of his shape.
Lawrence, you're being space racist.
I know I am. I'm sorry.
So give me a 12-episode series on Claude.
Is he the homophobic slug that people call him?
He's not he's not homophobic. He's people are putting together two clips which are not cut that way in the movie, but there's a funny meme where there's the cut for China lesbian kiss in Star Wars.
Yeah, Disney's first openly gay character.
Yes, I don't like that joke by the way.
Oh, why?
Because it's not real. Because people... I hate getting into this shit. Alright. Because people always say, oh yeah, they promoted it as Disney's first openly gay character. But Disney have never promoted it as Disney's first openly... No one at Disney has ever been like, oh, in Avengers Endgame, I tell you what, guys, we're going to have the first openly gay Marvel character. Everyone get excited. Get ready for the first openly gay character.
Joe Russo.
It's Joe fucking Russo, alright? No one's promoting it like that. Someone offhandedly in an interview one time said, oh yeah, we got a character who's gay. And then it was sensationalized in a headline, and that's how we get to this mess. Yeah. It's never them, and I fucking hate defending Disney because they shouldn't be defended. Call them out for the right things and not this, okay? Anyway, sorry.
So you've got Claude the homophobic slug.
So I've got Claude the homophobic slug as my joke answer. My serious answer is Count Dooku.
Okay.
Specifically a younger Count Dooku still within the Jedi Order.
Is that, correct me if I'm wrong because I haven't seen it, is that not explored in Tales of the Jedi?
Yes, it is, but I'd like to see it explored more in depth.
I see. The Tony Gilroy treatment.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's fair. I did say that. Thank you for listening if you got this far. Oh, and by the way, a special thanks to everyone.
Doctor Who. Happy Doctor Who Day.
Happy Doctor Who Day.
Special thanks to Doctor Who.
Thanks, Doctor Who.
Thanks, Doctor Who. You're great at being Doctor Who.
But a special thanks to everyone who still showed up and still listened all the way through to, for some reason, our Brian and Charles episode. Yeah.
What a shit show. It was mostly just us talking.
I mean, maybe you'd love to hear us chat. That's cool. But yeah, no. On a serious note, that was a terrible podcast. So thank you for listening to it.
I haven't checked the numbers or not.
Thank you for getting your Russell crisps out mid. For the love of fucking God. Oh, that's the outro. I'm not cutting any of this. It's staying in. You're folding them as well. You couldn't have just left them be.
I'm putting them away.
All right, fine. I respect it. You can't let the air go to your crisps.
Exactly, yeah.
I'll
get stale.
Yes, true. I'll respect it. But yeah, thanks for showing up to that. Thanks for listening to this all the way through. If you like these episodes, they go live Fridays at 10 a.m. You can give us a little follow on social media at Another Happy Pod. We are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, we are on TikTok, where Nathan is throwing it back.
What a great joke. We're maybe on Hive, probably not though.
Currently, we're not on Hive. Did you do what I did when I joined Hive? I immediately searched for a number of corporations to try and steal their handles in the hope that they would send me a message saying, "Here's $1 billion. Can we have at Amazon UK, please?"
I think that'd most likely just be like, "Here's a copyright infringement notice.
Yeah, probably.
Delete your account, or we'll sue you for everything you're worth."
It's true. They probably would, but you never know. I could take 50 handles. That means I got 50 chances for someone to be like, "Here's $1,000. I'll take 500 quid for it's a free handle."
The trouble with what's going on in the moment is, in order, like everyone's looking for the next Twitter because Twitter's dying.
Yeah.
Because it's run by a madman. So that we're all looking for the next thing. The problem is we don't know what that's going to be yet.
No.
So like every week there's a new thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Like the week before this it was Mastodon, and now it's Hive.
I missed
and
the
problem
Mastodon
is,
stuff.
Well, you see, you got to get in early. The problem is you got to get in early because all the good usernames will be gone, and like you don't want to be stuck with like Nathan 62 29 87 46 or what you like. I was like, oh Hive, I'm getting on this early, maybe I can just get at Nathan. I couldn't, it was gone, so I settled for at Nathan Bauer.
Yeah.
Which is good. That's the Twitter handle I want, and I don't currently have, but all this is bullshit. You can cut all this. No one cares.
That's true. No one does care, but we were just like our Brian and Charles podcast. We were just having a nice chat. But it is true, you have to get in early. I secured my name, which is good, because you actually can't put an underscore in on Hive.
Can you not?
No, because my one everywhere is Lawrence_Heisey, and I was like, I'll just keep it the same. And then it was like, no, and I went, oh, that's annoying.
Yeah.
So I was just happy to, whatever. This is all bullshit.
It is. No one cares.
You can give us a review if you like. Thanks to everyone that has reviewed
Review us on Hive.
Review us on Hive. No, I don't think.
Just write out a Hive or whatever you call it, and then just say, "Hey, Another Happy Pod is pretty good," and then we'll never see it.
Yeah, we'll never see it because it won't load. There's only 2 of them, Nathan. Show
Lawrence,
some respect.
Stop being mean to the Hive guys.
Sorry, the Hive guys.
You're really showing your preference for billion-dollar corporations right now.
No, I'm not.
You're really showing how you only care about something if it's convenient for you.
Oh yeah, go on.
And,
Show
how the ethics are out the window
so,
as soon as it's
so by
a
this
little
argument, Nathan, I would like to see your app usage time for Twitter and Hive compared.
Well, I've had Twitter a lot longer than Hive, haven't I?
It's true.
And I don't have my screen time turned on because I don't need to know. I don't care. I know I'm on TikTok 12 hours a day. Why do I need to have that written down?
I'm having a good time. I already know. Right. Next week we're going to be doing this.
We're looking for the legendary Kevin Bacon.
I just said that, Drax.
Your voice is small and mousy. I think maybe he didn't hear you.
What a festive time for all. Let me know what you're up to. I'm gonna send us off now with Taylor Swift's new song. I don't know the name of it, but it's that one that's like, "Hi, I'm the problem, it's me."